A haunting melody, a driving acoustic riff, and raw emotional lyrics. Interstate Love Song by Stone Temple Pilots is a story of deception, of heartache, and of addiction. But how did this song come to be? And what was its deeper meaning? Today we're diving into the history of Interstate Love Song, the creation, the inspiration, and its lasting impact. Hi, I'm Andy Fenstermaker, host of Poetic Wax, a weekly music history series and podcast where I dig into the record collection I've been building since the 1990s to explore the sometimes little-known history of a band, album, or song from within. By the early 1990s, grunge had taken over. Bands like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and Alice in Chains were dominating the rock charts. And then there was Stone Temple Pilots, a band that initially faced criticism for being grunge imposters, but soon proved their authenticity with their 1992 debut album, Core. Despite the initial backlash, Core was a massive success, selling over 8 million copies and catapulting the band into stardom. But it was their 1994 follow-up album, Purple, that cemented STP as one of the defining rock bands of the decade. And at the heart of that album was Interstate Love Song.
Leaving on a southern train only yesterday. You lied, promises what I seem to be.
The creation of Interstate Love Song is as intriguing as its melody. Bassist Robert DeLeo recalls composing the song during a tour, seated in the front passenger seat of a Winnebago motorhome. Armed with a modest $25 nylon string guitar, DeLeo experimented with the bossa nova style. However, sensing its potential, he infused a country riff and a memorable melody, transforming it into the track we recognize today. Reflecting on his creative outburst, he would remark, "This was a different level of writing for me." At first listen, Interstate Love Song sounds like a breakup song, one about distance and lies and longing, and in many ways, that's exactly what it is. But to understand the true meaning, we have to look at the struggles of lead singer Scott Weiland. During the time of Purple's recording, Weiland was battling a growing heroin addiction, a fact that he was desperately trying to hide from his then fiancée, Janina Castaneda. While on tour, he reassured her that he was staying clean, but in reality, he was slipping deeper into addiction. Interstate Love Song was his confession, an expression of the guilt, deception, and emotional turmoil that he felt. The lyrics encapsulate that moment. Janina, far away, reading between the lines of his phone calls, suspecting the truth, and Weiland fully aware of his deceit. Following the massive success of their debut album, Core, Stone Temple Pilots faced the challenge of producing a worthy successor. Undeterred by external pressures, the band entered Southern Tracks recording studio in Atlanta with producer Brendan O'Brien. Remarkably, the entire Purple album was recorded in just 10 days, much in part due to the band's cohesion and creative synergy. Robert DeLeo confidently stated, "We knew that the songs that we had were pretty special." Musically, Interstate Love Song came together almost effortlessly. Guitarist Dean DeLeo crafted the iconic riff, an open chord progression influenced by blues and classic rock. Weiland later called it the greatest song STP ever wrote. Remarkably, bassist Robert wrote the music in just 10 minutes, something he later said was one of those rare moments where everything just clicked. While the melody of Interstate Love Song exudes a sense of freedom, its lyrics tell a more somber tale. He would later confess, "The words are about the lies I was trying to conceal while making the Purple record." This duality between outward assurance and inner conflict is poignantly captured in the lines like, feeling like a hand in rusted shame. Released as the third single from Purple, Interstate Love Song became an instant hit. It topped the Billboard Album Rock Tracks chart for 15 weeks, breaking records at the time. It was one of those rare songs that resonated with both rock purists and mainstream listeners alike.
And the number one modern rock artist is Stone Temple Pilots.
Over the years, it's remained one of the most beloved rock songs of the 90s. Whether it's played on classic rock radio, which is still hard to believe that 90s is classic rock now, or simply blasting from a car stereo on a long drive, Interstate Love Song continues to connect with listeners. Though the song was a massive success, Weiland's personal struggles continued. His battle with addiction would lead to legal troubles, rehab stints, and eventually his departure from STP.
For us to be able to play music and make records, we fired Scott, and we asked Chester if he was interested in being the singer of STP. Man, it was just it's just so sad to look back at what the four of us had.
In his 2011 memoir, Not Dead and Not for Sale, Weiland wrote about the deep regret he felt for the lies and pain he caused during that time. And in many ways, Interstate Love Song stands as both a confession and a cautionary tale. Thus, there's an irony to his death and the circumstances around it that Interstate Love Song plays out in its lyrics, foretold just over 20 years prior. Few songs capture emotion as perfectly as Interstate Love Song. It's a track that embodies longing, regret, and the weight of personal struggles, all wrapped up in one of the most memorable melodies of the 90s. Weiland would pass away while on tour with his band The Wildabouts in December of 2015, with the medical examiner noting it as an accidental overdose while also highlighting Weiland's history of asthma and cardiovascular disease. His widow, Jamie, would contradict the examiner's notes in a 2024 interview with the Social Distortion podcast, noting that the examiner was legally bound to call it an overdose due to drugs being in his system, but that the true cause was simply his heart giving out, much in part due to the lengthy history of drug abuse.
I think Robert and Eric and I exhausted ourselves just trying to help him.
Decades later, Interstate Love Song remains, in my honest opinion, the pinnacle of Weiland's legacy and the legacy of Stone Temple Pilots. Its artistry and the raw honesty they infused into this song is unparalleled in their greater body of work. It's a song born from personal struggles, from creative experimentation, and from a hopeless desire to shut away the shame of an addiction that Weiland just couldn't shake. As it continues to inspire new generations of musicians and fans, its legacy as a rock classic is firmly cemented.